Aha. Right, welcome back. Thanks very much for tuning in, so to speak, on YouTube. Tubing in. Just a quick update. I will go on to the full test in a moment. I'm just going to make this first part of the video before we go outside. So this is a relatively unused heater. It's got an H calorie badge on it. There we go, H calorie. I've only used it a couple of times. When the other one was out of action, I couldn't be bothered to clean it. This was originally the one with the adjustable parameters for, or some of the adjustments you could, make. You could sort of set the pump speed maximum rate and the fan speed maximum minimum rates. It's okay. It's okay. I've used it a couple of times. It's only ever been run on diesel, this. I was intending on taking it next week with me to my home out in Romania, where at the moment nighttime temperatures are falling down to about -13. And this is a pretty cold house in the winter. I thought it might be handy. If I do decide to take it out, I will be sure to make a film of it out there, but I haven't completely decided yet. This one, incidentally, has got a really tacky case on it. You can see it's already breaking. It's only been apart a couple of times. The casing on this one is pretty rubbish. Not as good quality as the other one. So, what have we done since the last video? Come over here. I've made a couple of adaptations, shall we say, to the control unit. It was pointed out to me that the glow plug draws quite a lot of current. And although these little relays, that little one there, shall we say, that it's rated at 10 amps at 30 DC. I don't really believe it. I think that's probably Chinese amps, which, as we all know, is a bit like Chinese kilowatts. So I've added a automotive relay down there. You can just see it. And the idea of that is to make sure we've got enough switching current for the glow plug. Some of you may notice there's a lot of use of lots of diodes here. I've used diodes everywhere. There's one there. There's one there. There's one sitting on the back of the MOSFET driver. I've used lots of them. And just in case you were wondering, that is to protect the electronics and contact breakers from back EMF. Something you can, if you're interested, you can look up. Just type in back EMF or snubbing circuits or EMF snubber on Google, and you'll find loads about it. And it's just basically on a motor or a relay or anything with a coil in it or electromagnetic. When you switch it off or it loses when it's pulsing between. Let's just start again. So when you're switching a coil electromagnetic device, the collapsing field starts another field in reverse, and you get something called back EMF, which is like a reverse voltage spike. So the idea of that is you need to get rid of it. Otherwise, over a period of time, it kills things like relay contacts. Definitely you'll kill semiconductor devices. As one field collapses, you get a spike in the opposite direction. You can quite clearly see it on an oscilloscope. It's quite amazing to watch, actually. It's quite an interesting thing, and there's lots about it if you want to look into it. But I'm just mentioning it if anybody else is going down this path, and make sure you put lots of diodes in, because you will kill things quite quickly without these snubbing diodes. So, first modification we've done since last time is the automotive relay added for the glow plug, and I've also added another ejector seat button on the front panel. There you go. That's ejector seat 1, ejector seat 2. Ejector seat 2 button, it occurred to me, as this is going to be used mainly for experimentation, it'd be quite useful to have a prime function on it, like our own ECUs have, where you press the 2 buttons on and it starts the pump pulsing. just to get some diesel through. I thought it would be quite a useful feature on this, and it was exceptionally simple, just a couple of diodes and a push button and it was done. So I thought that was a worthwhile addition. So we can basically just switch it on the front panel, press ejector seat 2 button, and just the pump will prime, nothing else, just the pump will prime, and it'll prime, that will carry on pulsing for as long as you hold your finger on that button. So other than that, it's exactly how it was when you last saw it. I don't think I've made any other changes. The only other thing I have done this morning is on one of my original ECUs from my original heater, it had a really weird glow plug fault, and I kept on thinking it was a glow plug, which was knackered. And what basically, it's got a dry joint or a crack print on this board. I tried going over with it with a soldering iron, flowing all the obvious joints, which didn't look right, but I could never really fix it. So for that reason, I ended up replacing this board. It's just an old board I had. So I've chopped the harness off of that, so I could use the sleeving and the grommet into the side of the diesel heater. I also pulled off the connectors so I could reuse them here. So what we've got is we've got the feed to the motor, the feed to the glow plug, and this is the thermocouple. Now I haven't tried this yet. I am going to plug it up in a minute before I take it out to the garden. I'm just interested to see what this thermistor, the stock thermistor on the housing, does with my little electronic thermostat board. I'm suspecting two things. First of all, there's a very big possibility if it's the wrong negative, it's the wrong temperature coefficient and the wrong value to get any sensible reading out of this. And secondly, even if it does give me a sort of semi-sensible reading of temperature, I suspect when this board gets up over 100 degrees C, it's going to basically tell me I'm out of range, which will be no good for this application. But I just want to try it. I'm just curious to see if it works. I have got a plan B, and that's just what we'll use for the test. We'll use this thermocouple hanging on, sitting on the output tube over there. But I'm just curious to see whether or not this thermistor is actually compatible with this board, because that'll save me a tenner. I have seen the board I want with a nice big sensor, temperature sensor, thermocouple, but I don't think I think I'm going to have to buy it, so I don't think this is going to be compatible, but we'll try it. Something I want to try. It might save me a tenner. So I think that's about it for the purpose of the test. I haven't run it up yet. I'm going to move it all out into the garage or the garden in a minute. It's quite a nice day, so I might do the garden, and we'll have a play and see how it operates. One of the things I do need to do is, I haven't done yet, I want to measure when it's in normal use with the with its own ECU. One of the things I intend to do is hang the oscilloscope on the there's the original board. I want to hang the oscilloscope onto the I can't even see it. It's there, the Hall effect transistor there, sensor. I want to hook the oscilloscope onto there whilst monitoring the DC voltage over to the motor. I just want to see how they're controlling the motor. I haven't had a chance to do that yet, but that'll also be useful for me to calibrate this thing so I know what RPM the motor's moving at. But I haven't done that yet. It's for the purpose of seeing if it's going to work. That's not really that essential. It's just something I should do at some point. Okay, I've just hooked up the thermocouple or thermistor, I think it's a thermistor actually, in the on the chamber. Hooked it up to that electronic thermometer, and it's gone a bit crazy, so it's obviously not compatible. Let me just have a look. Yeah, that is a thermistor in there, I'm sure, not a thermocouple, so it is actually a thermistor. So it's obviously completely the wrong value. If I hold my soldering iron on the casing, not only have we got a weird digit on the left hand side, it actually goes down the temperature. It shows, it actually starts, there you go, it's starting to drop. So it's totally the wrong type of device for that particular electronic controller board, thermostat controller board. So I will need to change that, and for the purpose of a test we'll have to hang the thermocouple over the outlet tube just to monitor for temperature. But anyway, I had to test it, and we've now proven that that thermocouple or thermistor there isn't compatible with that cheap board I was using. It was just an old board I had laying around, and it makes sense to to use it. Alright, so here we are back in the garage. I decided to do the test in the garage as I'm not sure on the weather at the moment. So just the usual reminder really, try not to blow yourself up, try not to do any of the shit I do. You know, you should really be using your diesel heater with diesel in accordance with the manufacturer's recommendations and directions. So please don't blow yourself up, stay safe. We're in the garage. I'll give you a quick tour of the garage. It's a bit of a mess really at the moment. I've got so many projects always on the go. One of the things I was going to mention to you guys is that I've recently purchased a MIG, a gasless MIG welder. The term itself is nonsense because, as you know, it stands for metal inert gas, and as far as I'm aware, with these flux core welders, which is a more accurate name, there's no inert gas involved, unless of course the flux gives off some gas when the flux is getting hot. I'm not sure, so I don't know, I'll have to research that. So it's right, I'm just getting a phone call coming in now. Of course I am. Let me decline that. Okay, so one of the things I was going to mention to you guys was this welder I bought. I'm just going to flip the camera over. There you go. It's about the cheapest you can get. I bought it off of eBay. It's from a company called Dirty Pro Tools, who do some quite budget price tools. Spin the camera back. That my bench grinder I've had for years and years is a Dirty Pro Tools, and I've been more than happy that grinder. So I am going to do a review on that at some point, because anybody who wants a incredibly cheap welder, you've only got to do one job with it and it pays for itself. So I'll do a review on that sometime, because I can thoroughly recommend it, and it's such an interesting bit of kit and it performs so well. I still got it down there, an old stick welder, a Lidl special, and I never wrong with that at all. Used to blow holes in things, and I did sort of use it. I've built various things with it over the years, but compared to this gasless full core flux core welding machine, there's just no comparison for me. It's just so easy to use compared to stick welding. I guess it's horses for courses. Right, so let's just walk you through what we've got, the test. Let me just flip the camera over. Okay, let me just move that out the way. So what have we got? We've got some diesel in there coming down this brake pipe, going into the priming pump. From the priming pump, oh no, I've used green hose. Oh no, it's never going to work. It's never going to perform properly with a green hose, is it? What a load of bullshit. Anybody who believes that needs to really look at it without blinkers on. It's just a load of crap. But green hose is fine. Okay, it's not very resilient for being crushed, or it's got no real heat resistance to it, but for most things the green hose is fine. All this bullshit about it expanding and all this carry on under pressure is horse shit. This is just this has got like a 3mm hole inside of this, straight into nothing, into the burn chamber. So there's no compression involved in here. So it's just an old wives' tale. Hang on. What's that smell? Oh yeah, it's bullshit. Okay, so that's out the way. I will do a video on that one day, maybe. So that's the diesel feed from the little pot down the brake hose into the pump, into the heater. Power supply, battery charger, 7 amp hour gel cell. That's the power supply. The box of tricks you already know. We know that the thermocouple, I've had to resort back to this thermostat's own thermocouple, and that's being held in place by a high-tech clamp there. You can see that high-tech clamp holding the thermocouple over there. So I'm going to switch cameras. I'm going to set the other camera up and we'll try first time test and see how it performs. Okay, so here we go, the big test. Got power to the battery charger, so I'm going to flick the switch, showing me we've got a temperature of 11.2 in the display. First of all, we're going to see if we can prime the pump. Oh, that's slow. What's going on there? Well, there's the first problem. I don't know if you heard that, but that was particularly slow. But it doesn't matter, I can come back to that. I can put a scope or something on that in a minute and we can come back to that. I might have disturbed the wiring to the multi-term pot. So this is our prime button. This is just basically activating the pulse generator and the MOSFET board, which control the dosing pump. Come on. That's taken a while. Oh, I can hear the pitch changing. Oh, here we go. Right. Let's just stop. We've got diesel up to the pump. Incidentally, this isn't pure diesel. This is a bit of leftover of something I mixed up when I was experimenting. I think it's, I don't know what sort of quantities, but it's diesel. Actually, that doesn't look very nice, to be honest. Let's just get rid of that shit. Might have been some moisture. Yeah, sorry, going back to it, it's got a mixture of diesel, vegetable oil, petrol, all sorts of shite, but for this it'll be fine, absolutely fine. Let's just get a rag, wipe that up. Right, so we're going to now start. So that's telling me that my glow plug... What the fuck? Oh, right, we're drawing 8.6 amps. Looks like the fan in my battery charger has developed a rather nasty dryness. Never heard that noise before from it. Okay, so it's telling me that we're drawing 8.6 amps, so that means the glow plug is doing something. Right, whoa, steady. Oh, I think we need to back that off. Bring the fan up. Come on. Why is that coming out the inlet? Why is that coming out the inlet? That doesn't make sense to me. Have I wired the fan up backwards? I think I've wired the fan up backwards. Excuse me while we pause the video. Right, I'm back. So what I've done is I've chopped the two fan wires, put a Wago in, I've reversed polarity the fan. It's very odd because the red positive wire of the fan connector was connected to my voltage plus on the fan controller, so I'm not sure what that's all about, but I can come back to that. I can address that another time. So let's try again. Power up. Oh, I haven't started it. Shit. Right. So we've got the green LED telling us that the glow plug is on, and the charge is telling me we're drawing 8.6 amps, which is about right. I think that's pretty much what my other one draws. So hopefully in a minute the timer LED to tell me we're on start up will come on. Maybe not. That's interesting. Oh, there we go. Whoop. Ah, that's more like it. Wow. Got lots of air in that pipe at the moment. I should have purged that first. Right, just for information's sake, I realise the camera can't see this. It says we've got 21 degrees coming out of the outlet. 23 degrees, 24. Now the thermostat's clicked in because it's happy it's producing heat. Doesn't sound that happy to me, but I say there is petrol in that mix, and we all know that the petrol burns off first and it makes that horrible noise. I just didn't have any pure diesel to hand. We're producing heat. So in a minute the timer should time out and it should hand over to the thermostat. Be really interesting to see if it stays lit once that happens. It's looking promising though, boys and girls. Not sounding very good, but not sure why that is. It's up the pump rate. Right, Sam, we're producing 60 degrees. Oh, and some smoke. So we're running rich now. So we'll bring the fan up, lean it out. I don't know if you saw that, but it started poking out when I increased the pump. Right, we've now handed over to the thermostat, and we're still rising. So I don't know if you saw that, it was chucking out, when I increased the pump rate, it started chucking out some black smoke, and I increased the airflow, and that brought the smoke level down. Just going to open the garage door so I don't pass out. Hello, well, the digital display says we're running at 85 degrees Celsius coming out. I should have really done this test on pure diesel, I realise that, but I just didn't have any to hand. I will go to the garage later and buy some. Right, so let's just bring the pump rate up. We'll bring the fan up as well. Right, in a moment or two, I suspect our thermostat's going to say we're out of range. Blowing out some shit now, boys. Right, let's just lean it out slightly. I'm impressed with how quick it responds as well. Wow, 93.6 and rising. Yep, we're up and running. So the thermocoupling is in front of that outlet tube is saying 95. It's just hanging there. Interesting now, temperature's dropping. Why is that? My eyes are watering. Right, let's close it down. We'll bring the fan speed up to maximum just to cool down the heat exchanger. So I'm just playing with the controls really. And we've got closed down. Don't know why that would be flame out. I think I've flooded it by winding up the pulse rate. So let's have a look. So basically I've induced a flame out there, and I'm hoping just to see if this will close off. I need to change the range on that thermostat because we've got down to 60 degrees now and we're still pulsing the dosing pump. I'm a bit worried about that dosing pump actually. It doesn't sound... It didn't right from the beginning. Yeah, it's not... Something's happened to the pulse generator. I need to find out. I've pulled a wire off or something. So worryingly, we're still pumping fuel into that. Let me just take that pipe off. Oh, where's that rag gone? Jesus, be God, I said the man at all, so he did. Come on. There we go. Just don't want any more to go into that combustion chamber than we have to. I need to find out what's happened to the pulse generator of the pump, because that is not pulsing how it should. But I can take that back on the table kitchen in a moment and we can have a look at that. But essentially, we got it fired up and it worked. But there's something horribly wrong with the way that dosing pump is pumping. If I switch off the battery charger, you can probably hear it better. Not gonna work, is it? So you can hear that very long on pulses, which is not what we were looking for. Yeah, I need to adjust the thermostat range so it switches off before now. Still pumping like a fucker. I will go and buy some more diesel today, pure diesel, and we can give it another test later today or tomorrow. But the good news is it worked. I need to get this thermostat thing sorted out. I think I'll buy that other board now. Now I've tested it and it works, I think I'll invest for tenner or whatever it is and buy the other board I've seen. Temperature controller board with a nice big robust thermocouple. Goes from, I can't remember the range, but it's sort of 0.1 Celsius or something. It might even be minus temperatures up to 999 it claims. So that'll be perfect for this. We'll bond it to the heat exchanger casing, and I'll have full control over that side of it then. Come on, time out. So that's something I need to do. I need to bring down this temperature range on the thermostat. I can't even remember what I set it to now, but I'm hoping in a minute it's going to switch off. Why don't I move the camera? $37.5. Put that rag under there. Yeah, I'm very unhappy with the way that pump is now operating. It wasn't operating like that before when we tested it on the bench. So I've done something to the pulse generator circuit. I've probably disturbed something, pulled a wire off or something on that multi-turn pot, because I've got 2 pots in series to get the range I want. So let's just move that out of the way, thermocouple out of the way a minute, because there's still quite a bit of heat in that heat exchanger. Right, that's starting to drop. Oh, I had it set well low, didn't I? Look, because that's still latched at 28 degrees Celsius. Blimey, I can't remember what I set it to. It needs to be much higher than that. It needs to be up, maybe up. There you go. So it was set to 23 degrees Celsius, and it's switched off now. The LED's gone out, the pump stopped pulsing. Right, I'll bring you back in a second. Okay. Alright, we're back. So it worked. Not particularly well, I'll admit that, but it did work. That was the very first test live. I hadn't practiced run. So there was 2 issues. The very first issue, as we know, was the fact that the fan was running backwards and was blowing air out of the inlet, not quite how it's meant to work. So I reversed the polarity to the pump motor and got that running the right way. It then fired up, and I had too much fuel going in. Produced lots of black smoke. I wound the fan up and cleared up the black smoke. It came up to temperature. Seemed to be fine. I struggled to close it down, so I'm going to have to look at a closing down sequence, as somebody else has mentioned. One of the comments was along those lines. So I need to find a safer way of closing it down, or a more controlled way of closing it down. That's not too much of an issue. I also need to look at the pulse generator, because that pump isn't happy at all. The way it's pulsing isn't how it was pulsing on the table. But as I say, I have mackled together a couple of potentiometers and a couple of resistors to get the value I wanted on the front dial. So I'm suspecting when I put the relay in for the glow plug, I've possibly disturbed that little resistor network. So I'll have a look at that in a moment, something I'll do. But it worked. First time, live, it worked. And it wasn't even on diesel, it was on some old shit I had laying around. So I'm quite pleased with that. It did actually work. Stinks of vegetable oil in here. I will go and buy some diesel later. I just need some fresh diesel, pure diesel, to try it on. I was intending never to run anything other than diesel through this heater, because I say I've got this earmarked somewhere else, but I've done it now. So I'll buy some fresh diesel today, and we'll give it another try. But I am pleased. I think it worked okay. Just spin you back. So this LED tells me as power. That's the temperature gauge. This is our priming button. That is our start button. That LED tells me that the glow plug is on. That tells me when the timer circuits are on for ignition, and that tells me it's running, but not under timer. It's running under thermostatic control. So that's the front panel. This is our pump pulse rate, which I need to look at, find out what's going on, and this is our fan speed. So that's it. It worked. This is where I quickly reversed the polarity to the fan, because I had the fan running backwards. All a bit Heath Robinson, but it does work. That's the main thing. So I'll go back now. Probably not today, because I've got a few other things to do. I'll either today or tomorrow I'll look at the pulse circuit, find out why it was misbehaving, and we'll come and do another test on some fresh diesel. And don't forget, if you like this, please press the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Subscribe. It does. I'm not doing this for money at the moment. It's not. I'm nowhere near that, but I'm just doing it out of interest, really, for my own pleasure, and hopefully help somebody else out. But it would help me if you liked and subscribed. It does get the more pushes then when people do a search. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I did. It was good fun, and stinks a bit in here. My eyes were watering for a bit, but there you are. All part of life and growing up, I say. Cheers.